So today was day 8 of the Ocala Blitz, and my God, guys, today was huge. Today was my best day ever on the doors. It's really interesting. So today I'm just gonna be telling you the things I learned. So, what is it? So it's now day 8. Today I almost got a hat trick. Basically, what that means is I got 3 appointments in a day, which is crazy. But the third appointment I got, it turned out that they were renters. They said they were homeowners. Well, we ended up finding out that they were renters. So I thought they got 3 appointments in a day, but only ended up getting 2. But that's still fire. They got bills, so they're gonna sit. They're all gonna be on Sunday. So today I just wanted to talk about some of the lessons I learned. Basically, I want to talk about the beginning of the day to the end of the day, because I think it will have to do a lot with how I perform today. So basically, today was a normal day. I was saying to myself, I'm like, God damn it. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I'm gonna have to go out and knock doors today. I'm like, it's gonna suck. I mean, as of now, I really don't feel like doing it. And then, and then basically from there, that I woke up, I was like, just trying to focus on the positive. So I ended up watching this thing by Grant Cardone. I was just watching some sales training because I'm like, it's been a while since I watched sales training. So I just started off my day learning about sales. So I watched some sales training for an hour. Then from there, I did watch some mindset stuff about money from Grant Cardone. Then I just ended up going to work. And that was pretty much the morning. So then once I got on the doors, actually this is very important. So before I got on the door, I was listening to an audio program, and it was by Alex Ramosi. The episode was about maybe you're not good enough yet. And for me, that was a really big, reminder that there are biases there's biases. There are biases that will help you and there's biases that will hurt you. But if you using a bias as an excuse for failing, it's never going to make you better. Even if that bias is true, you just using it is just you being a victim, and that's not going to make you better at all. And then it's funny because the other day I kind of found myself in this mindset. I'm thinking, maybe I'm like, is it just because am I just not getting results because I'm black and I'm in the country? Like, I know this sounds like a crazy thought, but I'm not even the kind of people to think like that. But it was making me wonder because I am in the country, very very far right country, and so I kind of stick out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean? But I said no. I'm like, even if that is true, it's not going to help me at all. So why even use it as a crutch? So completely eliminated that thought from my head. So I then said, maybe you're not good enough, because reality is, if I just increase my skill set, I would be able to compensate for, whatever thing I have that's making me, not perform as well. So then from there, what I realized was that. And then I learned the power of giving. It's so funny, I feel like whenever things aren't going the way I want them to in my life, as soon as I give to someone else, things get better. So basically there's this homeless guy today. I was at the gas station at Wawa, and then basically he was begging, and then he asked me for money, and he didn't ask directly, but he was telling me, he's like, man, hands are really hard right now. I knew why he was there. So I'm like, man, I just gave him 20 bucks. At the time I was saying, like, I kind of can't afford to do this, but at the same time, what I learned today during the morning is money is useless. Money has zero value unless you're using it. Just think about it. If money is sitting inside of an account, you're not doing anything. It just gives you peace of mind. It isn't until you actually use something does it have value. For example, would you rather have a $50 million jet, or would you rather have 50 million? $50 million just sitting in an account is literally just numbers on a screen. You can't do anything with it. But a jet is actually tangible. You can actually feel it, and that's why it has value. So what I mean is, money has no value until it's put to use. So, my idea is that, well, right now my money's just sitting in my account, but if I give it to this guy, he'll find value from it, and then he'll be able to help. I'm like, rather, if he wants to go buy drugs with it or feed his family, I don't know what he's gonna do with it. That's up to him. He could be scamming, but at the end of the day, I truly believe you're rewarded for doing the right thing. So, I just gave it to him, and, I have no idea what he's gonna do with it. If he helps out people, it'd be great. If not, no harm, no foul. And then I did what I believe was right. But my point was, whenever I feel like I'm not getting things in my life, I give, and then I get things. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's almost like a law of the universe. For example, when I made my first sale ever, I'm not even kidding you, the day before, I was talking to a homeowner, and he was in a really bad financial situation. The guy was like, long story short, his brother died. He wanted to go solar, but he couldn't. It's a long story. And then from there, I gave him $50. I gave him all the money in my, my wallet at the time, and it was because I generally felt for the guy. I wish I could help him more. And then he was so grateful. And then literally the very next day, I got my first sale ever. I don't think that's a coincidence. Today, same thing happened. Saying, I'm like, man, I really can't afford to help the guy, but I'm like, I did it anyway. And then sure enough, today I ended up getting like 2 appointments. Obviously, none of them have closed yet, but I don't think that's a coincidence. And then from there, what I really learned today is the goal of every conversation is to make someone happier than before you got there. That's always been my mantra because, for me, it's like, I know I'm not the best. I'm definitely not the best at this yet. I'm getting there. So if I can just if I can move everything in my favor, my thing is, my true goal is I want to get rid of the stigma that of door-to-door salesmen being like slimy, people don't like us. I don't like that that's a stereotype. So my goal is every single time I step on a door to change that belief. Because my thing is, even if I can take if I can just make one person happy, that's a huge win. Because it's like, even if you think about it in the long term, if they don't buy today, they're going to buy in the future because they're going to like me. Because it's like, eventually you get to a point where you re-knock the same areas over and over again, so people start to see you more and more. So the more people like you, the higher chance that you have. So, not only, but I'm not even looking at this from a transactional standpoint, but it's really just, I feel good making people feel good about themselves. Like, I love that even though people don't buy from me in that moment, after I'm done talking to them, they feel happier. And that then makes me feel better about myself. So that's just one of the things I learned. It's like, if you just focus on making the other person happy, the sale will happen. And that's pretty much it. And how you do this is just by talking about people, asking questions that are thought-provoking, and ask them about themselves. And then which leads me to my next point, and that is, as long as you follow the process, no matter what, you're going to get the result. So it means as long as you follow the main points, which are, why are you there? Build the pain, provide the solution, and then from there you then go for the bill/appointment, and then you then solidify or deal with objections. As long as you follow those 5 key points, and every single time as long as you're within your KPIs, you're going to hit the numbers. So for me, for every time I have a full conversation with someone, I know 1 out of 15 times I'm going to get an appointment. And that's why tracking your numbers is so important, because it's okay, if I hit this amount of numbers, I'm going to get XYZ result. And it's a lot easier because then it starts to become like a game, because you know how many inputs you have to put in to get the outputs out. Okay, so then this is a big one I learned today. Yesterday I learned the power of maintaining my energy, because yesterday my main goal was, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to knock less doors, but try to stay in a peak state, so when I talk to people, people will be more attracted to me. And then as yesterday, it was a terrible day. I got absolutely destroyed. Like, I got shit on the doors. Like, everyone's being a complete douche. But even though that was how everything was going, yesterday I still managed to stay in that state where I'm like, no one can say anything to me that's gonna hurt my feelings. I'm gonna stay in this neutral state all day. And that's exactly what happened. And then today, I did that same thing, except for I was getting good looks. I wasn't letting people drain my energy as much. Don't get me wrong, I'm still human. Like, if people say things to me, it still does start to build up. But my point was, I was able to maintain it enough that as soon as people saw me, it seemed like I was having the best day of my life. I tricked myself into loving sales. Like, when I was on the doors, like when I was in the car, I was contemplating, I'm like, I don't want to go and do this. And then, my thing is, I asked myself, I'm like, well, Aaron, if this is something you're going to do no matter what, is it rather to hate something but act like you love it, or is it better to feel like you hate someone and then act like you actually hate it? Because if you know you hate something but you act like you hate it, you're then going to act miserable, which is then going to make things even worse. Because if you don't like something and you have a negative stigma around it, you're going to want to do it even less. So my thing is, okay, even if I do feel a certain way about something, why don't I just lie to myself to trick my brain to like it? So that's pretty much all I was trying to do today. It was really hard to do, don't get me wrong, especially as the day progressed and I was getting shit on more and more. But I was able to stay in that state. And the big thing for me that I thought was really helpful was quality over quantity. For the longest time, I used to just try to pride myself on saying, hey, I knocked 100 doors, look at me, but then I have no results. Unlike today, I focus on knocking less and just staying in a really good headspace. So for example, instead of knocking, 15 doors an hour, I was doing 7, which sounds like nothing. but it's because I really was putting all my energy into staying in a positive headspace. So as soon as I would talk to someone, I'd be having the best day of my life, and they would be happy to see me because my energy would be like addicting, because like my energy would be like attractive, because like since I was in a good space, that would then be transferred to them, even though I'm a more serious demeanor. It's just that I would be excited to, like, for example, I would like ask them questions and I'll be like interested in stuff like that. I can't really explain it, not in this video. I'm trying to keep it short. But main key point is I just focus on staying in a positive headspace, and if I was not in a good headspace, I wouldn't knock the door. What I used to do is I would be in a negative headspace and I would just knock the door and be like, I just gotta like go through the motions and eventually I'll get results because of the law of averages. And even though that is true, let's just say if you're in a bad mood and you're just following the script, you might get an appointment, you might get an appointment 1 out of every 100 times. Or you could be in a good headspace and like be in a good mood, and then you're doing the same exact thing, except for you're only doing it when you're in a good mood, and then from there it's only 1 in 13. So every 1 out of 13 full conversations I have, I'll then get an appointment. I'd rather have the latter, which is I'd rather do less but have higher quality and get more results. So that was one of the things I learned today. And then the main thing is, guys, like I always talk about it, and that's just track your numbers, because it's if you track your numbers, it's hard to get discouraged, because you're like, okay, well, I know today I knocked on 50 doors, and from there I had 10 conversations. So that means tomorrow I'm gonna get an appointment, because tomorrow I'm then gonna have 13 conversations, and then they'll have my 3 more full pitches. So I should definitely get an appointment tomorrow. So I just mean that. So if you track your numbers, it becomes a lot less emotional, because okay, well, if I do this, then I get this result. And then this is another one I learned today. And whenever you're in doubt, ask questions and really try to attentively listen. Because what I realized today is lots of times people will give you a true objection. They'll give you an objection, but it won't be very clear. Like someone, for example, won't say, oh, I'm worried about leaks. They don't say that. Or for example, the lady I was talking to today, she said I'm 64. She brought up her age. The real reason why she didn't want to do solar was because even though I explained it wasn't a loan, she didn't understand that. She still thought it was a loan. So I explained to her, I'm like, oh, I'm like, even though she never even said it, she never said I'm too old for solar. I knew that was a real objection. I said this program was actually made for new homeowners and older people, and they like senior citizens, and they love it because they can just get a cheaper electricity bill. And they love it because they can just get a cheaper electricity bill, and when they want to move or get rid of their house, it just transfers to the next homeowner. I explained that to her, and then she was in like lighting up. And then the next objection was in my roof. She never even said clearly. She never said I don't want panels on my roof. She never said I'm worried about the panels damaging my roof. She said my roof is old. And then I then got over that objection. I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm like, we inspect the roof. If there's any problems, we'll replace the roof 100% by us. And effectively, you'll get a brand new roof, and you'll have a cheaper electricity bill. Does that make sense? She's like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, kinda. And I said, here, I'll be completely honest with you. I was completely transparent with her. I told her the straight truth. I said, I get paid off commission. I'm like, the catch is simple. When you do this, I get commission. However, when you get a new roof, it comes out of my check. So I get less money so you can be in a better financial situation. And then she was like, oh my God, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And then since I was being honest with her, I think she then was more, what's the word? Like she believed me more. Because so many people try to like hide, like I feel like in this industry we try to like act like we don't get commission, we don't make stupid money, but we should just like confront it. It's like going to the doctor and you're acting like you don't know your doctor makes bank. Like we all know the doctors make bank. The same exact thing with us. I think we should stop hiding it as an industry and just be honest with people. And I think people would respect us a lot more. But I digress. And then this is so simple, but it's really sometimes you gotta figure out things yourself, and that is to focus on the positive. If you're in your head, you're dead. This is the thing that I struggle with the most, because for me, I'm really empathetic. I really feel what people say. I really feel how other people feel. I really do. So it's kind of hard because, for example, if someone like goes off on me, even though I act like I don't care, I know that still is bothering me, and it like slowly drains my energy throughout the day. So what I learned really is I will not move on to the next door until I have a reset and I feel positive. Like I will focus on the positive. for example, instead of saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe that guy yelled at me," I'll be like, "Wow, I'm really happy he opened the door because now I know that he doesn't want it. So I'm now one no closer to someone saying yes." Just something like that. And last but not least, I'm like, I need to knock no soliciting signs. Knocking no soliciting signs was some things I usually do, but I kind of stopped doing because whenever I would do it, I felt like every single time I talked to a person that had a no soliciting sign, they always told me no. So I'm like, it just kind of seems like a waste of time. And also, it's like no soliciting signs are like a double-edged sword because they're either one of two people. They're either they just have it because, they either have it and they forgot that it was there, or number two, they're a buyer, or number three, they just absolutely hate your guts. And as soon as you open the door, they're gonna either scream at you or they're gonna say like no soliciting and slam the door in your face. So that's kind of where I'm at. But today I ended up setting an appointment with someone that had a no soliciting sign, and it's hilarious because they were literally talking to me and they love me. Like they love me so much, and they even said, "Thank goodness you weren't one of those door-to-door salesmen." I was like, I just started laughing. I thought that was hilarious. Like she didn't even think I was a salesman. That's how like much of a person I was, I guess, and that makes sense. So my main goal is, like I said, is just get rid of the stigma around the sales industry. But yeah, this was the lessons I learned. I know this video was kind of long-winded. If you made it to the end, I really appreciate you. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for all the support, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow for some more bombs of knowledge.